If you're looking to get a 7+ score on your IELTS speaking exam, I've got a checklist that meets a lot of evaluation criteria, plus some tips from last class that we are going to put together and apply to a couple brand new card questions. Check it out. Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Kevin. I'm an English teacher and writer. If this is beneficial to you, by all means, click the subscribe and ring that notifications bell. In our last class, I gave you some strategies regarding storytelling and a reporter's perspective, as well as note-taking and other things that you can check out. Today we're going to look at some new cards that are running from September to the end of December. Specifically, we're going to look at 2 cards. I'm going to give you some model answers, and we're going to break apart the components with a helpful checklist that has all the good things included. You're going to hear me talk a lot about using language more effectively, which is one of my major goals with all of these videos. We always want to keep in mind that we do use language to communicate. We do use language to exchange information. And all the while, understanding is number one. But it's important to keep in mind that language can do so much more. We can evoke or stir emotions by using Aristotle's rhetoric or the art of persuasion. We can use words to change the way people think about life, maybe change their own lives, maybe change our lives, or look at the world in a different way. Giving great answers is all about providing strong examples and reasoning. If you can inspire somebody to make a small but significant change in this world, I think that's a wonderful thing, and it's within our grasp to do so. Here is our main course for today, the study tip that you want to be practicing the most in your daily exercise. We have a great checklist here. If you put all of this goodness into your answer, you're going to do very well. On this list, we have coordinating conjunctions. We have subordinate conjunctions. We have linking phrases. We have collocations. We have idiomatic expressions. We have mixed grammar tenses. And keeping in mind from our last video, the subordinate conjunctions and the coordinating conjunctions, those give you the complex grammar structure. The first card we're looking at today is describe an area of science or technology that you want to learn more about. Which area it is, when you became familiar with it, how you got information on it, and why you would like to learn more about it. One area of science that definitely piques my curiosity is the study of robotics and artificial intelligence. Specifically, I'm fascinated by the concept of robotic police officers and soldiers becoming self-aware and what measures the government may need to take to protect the general public. After watching the film Terminator 2 as a child, my mind has forever been branded with images of red, burning-eyed robots and children caught in the park turning to dust during a nuclear explosion. The film serves as a reminder that robots can play the part of parental figures or protectors, yet they can also cause mass destruction. Ultimately, it raises the question, if robots can copycat emotions of love, then could they not learn to hate? While I have no formal education in this field, I have sponged up a bit of knowledge in my design thinking university classes regarding disruptive technology. For instance, multinational corporations have poured billions of dollars into AI research. So we will likely see a huge wave of automation and AI-based technology in the near future that will take over all facets of society, including work, study, and entertainment. What's more, I read an article online somewhere that stated scientists have predicted that robots may become self-aware around the year 2040. Although the idea of an AI apocalypse may be passed off as far-fetched fiction, if governments are spending huge sums of money investing in AI robots, artillery, or police officers, then the public should be in the know regarding what kind of fail-safe mechanisms are being implemented to ensure our safety. Overall, AI technology is a tool that will undoubtedly have tremendous benefits for humankind. At the same time, we need to know how to use it safely so that it will not pose any danger to the world. In terms of coordinating conjunctions, we have included a few: and, yet, so. An example. For instance, multinational corporations and governments have poured billions of dollars into AI research. So, it is likely that we will see a huge wave of this technology in the near future that will take over every facet of society, including work, studies, and entertainment. Check off those coordinating conjunctions. For subordinate conjunctions, we've used although, while, and after. An example. Although the idea of an AI apocalypse may be passed off as far-fetched fiction, if governments are investing tons of taxpayers' money into robot soldiers or police officers, then the public should be in the know regarding what safety precautions are being taken to shut them down in case they retaliate. Give your subordinate conjunctions a check, guys. So here are the mixed grammar tenses. Bunch of different tenses that we're using. Keep in mind as well that you can mix them up. Sometimes you will have like past simple and past continuous in the same sentence. Idiomatic expressions piques my curiosity, just kind of, it means it intrigues me. My mind was branded. Branded is when you stamp the cows to mark them back in the olden days. It just means that something is kind of ingrained. It's permanently in your mind and memory. Sponge up is to absorb or take in information. A wave, it's just like something that becomes popular and is kind of prevalent in society. Playing the part, you should know to play the part, play the role. And pouring is just pouring money into, is investing money or spending money on something. Check that off your list. We have some collocations here, and you can see that a lot of them are kind of like phrasal verbs. We're putting the combination, the verbs, the adverbs kind of together. Turning to dust, take over, passed off, serves as a reminder to shut something down. To shut something down, which is like to turn off, basically. Brilliant. We have a bunch of linking phrases here as well. I'm not going to go through all of these, guys. Just take your time and kind of look, go back, find them in the answer if you like. That's how you study. You kind of just take the time, encode or sponge up this information so it's a part of your memory, and then you can retrieve it and you can deliver things in a natural way. Card 2. Describe an occasion when you waited a long time for something nice. You should say when it happened, what it was, why you waited a long time, and how you felt about it. Just like the last card here, you can see my point form notes. You're putting your key points in key vocabulary using abbreviations, short form. Make the most of that minute and just refer to the card every now and then to ensure that you're not forgetting any important point. When I first graduated from university a couple of years ago, I was dead set on throwing a huge bash to celebrate with all the ones I love. Unfortunately, my parents were way across the country in Toronto, and I was studying in Vancouver. Although my closest classmates and I ripped it up and went on a week-long bender, deep in my heart, I was terribly homesick and wanted desperately to reunite with my mom and dad. One might assume my parents could just hop on a plane or vice versa. However, they had chipped in a fair amount of my tuition, so airfare was just not in their budget. In order to achieve this wish, I landed a part-time job as a line cook. While it took me several months of penny pinching and living off of convenient noodles and bologna sandwiches, I was finally able to save up enough to fly my parents out and even put them up in a decent hotel for a few nights. When I met my folks at the arrival's gate, I was bowled over with elation. The look of gratitude in my mother's eyes was priceless, and as long as I live, I'll never forget it. My parents were only able to stay for about 4 days, yet everyone was in super high spirits the entire time. In addition, while I know this is only a small gesture and can't repay all the support to my degree, I was riding high on a wave of confidence and feeling overly optimistic that I would make some big waves in the working world. Overall, this experience serves as a reminder that good things are worth waiting for, and giving to others can be a gift in itself. So once again, let's pull up this checklist of all the components that make a high quality answer here. You can see I have the coordinating conjunctions, subordinate conjunctions, linking phrases, mixed grammar tenses, collocations, and idiomatic expressions. The coordinating conjunctions here we've used and, yet, so, but. An example is my parents were only able to stay in town for a few days, yet everyone was in high spirits the entire time. Subordinate conjunctions, we have although, while, when. Although I was able to go on a week-long bender and rip it up with my friends, deep in my heart, I was terribly homesick and desperately wanted to reunite with my parents. We've used similar subordinate conjunctions. These are just my favorite ones. I like to use although and quite often in my writing as well. We'll get into more, but for now, learn to use these and I'll give you some more next time. It doesn't really matter how many you have. You just want to choose a few of them that are your favorites for your 2-minute answer. You can see, just like the last answer, we do have a variety of mixed grammar tenses. Keep mixing them up. We can go from past simple or past continuous in the same sentence, and that's just how it works. So once you record yourself in the daily exercise, we'll talk about this, record it and you type out your answer, you can kind of break it down and just look at the different tenses you're using, kind of examine them in more detail and see how they work. Idiomatic expressions, we have a bender. You can go on a day-long maybe not a day long, couple 2 or 3 day long bender, maybe a week bender when you're young. Just remember, if you're going on a bender, which means to party basically all day and all night for a long time, do it safely and responsibly. Scrimp and save just means to save money. Work really hard to save. Penny pinching is the same, just saving as much as you possibly can. Homesick, I think you know. Often, for those of you who have started university or college, being away from your motherland, if you went abroad, being away from your family and friends definitely will give you that feeling of homesickness. Bowled over is a great one. It's kind of like knocked over, blown away. That just means you were totally moved by something. And the last one, last but certainly not least, because it's probably most common, is high spirits. We're in a good mood, then we are in high spirits. Conversely, if we are in a bad mood, we can say we are in low spirits. Check off those idiomatic expressions. Moving on to collocations. So collocations and idiomatic expressions are coming together to help give you your vocabulary mark. Hop on a plane, put someone up, which means to pay for them to stay somewhere, put them up in a hotel, fly them out. Again, raise money, so we can have raise money, which means to save enough money or to get money, maybe for charity. You raise money for charity or for the poor. And a great deal of something. Again, you could have a great deal of money. People could offer you a great deal of moral support or financial support. You're going to have a lot of linking phrases. You really want to get in the habit of linking basically everything you can. And there's different kinds of linking phrases. We'll set aside a video specifically for those. However, the main reason for this, on top of that, finally, also, overall. Overall's basically your conclusion starter. Beautiful. Those are taken care of. How to find the story. It's important to understand that storytellers exaggerate the truth. On the day, if you get a card that you can't relate to, you've never had that experience, you must come up with a little white lie. And it's not that hard. You can think about friends or family members that have maybe had this experience and just make it your own. You can draw inspiration from news articles, from movies, from TVs, from other stories, whatever. That's what great storytelling is. It's a quilt work of fact and fiction. And there's always that element of exaggeration. Use extreme examples so that the fish you caught, which was maybe only so big, in your story, it becomes a bit more of a whale that almost swallowed you up and you had to fight your way out of it. So in the last class, I told you to start by being a reporter. You want to establish all the most important information. But one thing you'll see about this card is because it's about education and learning in the future, it's not as easy to tell a story the entire way through. This is what I mean about finding your story. For some cards, it's a past memory or occasion that you can kind of build a story the entire way through. For other cards, you're going to need to kind of take parts of a story or a potential situation and kind of imagine it and put those elements into your answer here and there. For our daily exercise today, we want to keep in mind the crucial tips we put into play for last class. Remember that all of these videos are building. They're not just classes on their own. We like to take things and review the knowledge, especially when it's key study tips. Yes, you want to always be taking full advantage of that 1 minute by practicing following those bullet points on the card. Make sure you're given the when, the where, the what in a general way first. Be a reporter. Practice establishing that key information to kind of set the scene for your listener. Then find your story. Again, if it's a past experience, the time you were surprised by a birthday party, it's not hard to give that story. Today we learned about a card that deals with education, something you want to learn in the future. So you're not telling the story in the same way, but whatever you can, show, don't tell. The main order of today is to practice breaking down your answer, making sure that you check off this list. Go through it one by one. Instead of simply recording your answer, I'd like you to type it out. I'm giving you a little bit of homework. Take 15 minutes to practice this. Type it out, look at it, and actually comb it over a little more carefully and make sure that you're checking off all of these things, that you have a mixed grammar tense, that you have subordinate and coordinating conjunctions that will give you multiple clause sentences, more complex grammar sentences. We're really just, these checklists are more of a breakdown that are contributing to your grammar, contributing to your vocabulary. Make sure you have linking phrases so you are meeting the fluency evaluation. Put all these things together and you're starting to not only improve your speaking skills, but they can also be applied to your writing as well. Remember, looking at the big picture, you have fluency, vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, and all of these checklist components connect to those main categories. So familiarize yourself with those and make sure you have all the essential ingredients for a winning recipe. That wraps things up quite nicely for today. If you liked what you've seen, please leave those comments below. I will get back to you as soon as humanly possible. I love to hear your ideas and I'll share my own with you. It's a wonderful exchange of thoughts. We'll be back at this again before too long. Remember, subscribe, ring that bell if you like. I really appreciate your support, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you again very soon.